Good morning. Thank you for hopping on, Dr. Susan Fiorito. And to all of those watching this episode, whether live or later on, this is a show called CityClips, and we're focused on featuring North Florida business and tech. And I have a fellow Domi board member on today as a guest, and I'm so excited to talk about your story. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
So I'm going to do a quick intro that I ran by Miss Fiorito, and it's mostly accurate by Perplexity, 3 for 3 here. One thing, we did catch one thing. So, and then I'll sprinkle in some facts throughout my questions and interview. But Dr. Susan Fiorito is the founding dean of the Moran College of Entrepreneurship at Florida State University, where she also serves as the Moran Professor of Entrepreneurship. She has been a faculty member at FSU since 1990 and has played a pivotal role in advancing entrepreneurship education and research at the university. So, yes, thank you for joining today.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be on your show and to be part of the Domi board.
Yes, it's an honor to serve with such a distinguished team and successful board. You have an entrepreneur story yourself. You've owned multiple retail businesses before transitioning over to academia. So, yeah, just tell us a little bit about how you got to Tallahassee.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is, I was here in Tallahassee in the 70s, actually, early 70s, getting my bachelor's degree in home economics education and taught high school for 5 years, home economics, cooking and sewing, which I loved. I taught that at Hialeah, Miami Lakes, and I grew up in Miami. And then got married and moved to Atlanta. And my ex-husband and I opened businesses, clothing stores. And he had already a leather manufacturing company. So I used to sew wallets and design suede vests for this store. I would teach high school during the day in Atlanta and then sew wallets and manage the store at night. We started Cobb Center Mall in Smyrna, Georgia in 1976. So I got the whole opportunity to start a business from scratch and to grow a business. So it was very, very exciting and a great opportunity. And that kind of, after leaving the business and getting a PhD, and that kind of brought me here to FSU.
Yeah, so you hold a PhD in merchandising from Oklahoma State University, an MS in administration and supervision of secondary schools from Barry University, and a BS in home economics education from FSU, like you mentioned. So what was the experience like in comparison to what the retail industry is like today and back then? And like I know in our conversation earlier, it was male dominated before. Now we're seeing women, successful women get into retail and running a business, growing a business. So what are you saying to your students now entering in the retail industry?
It's interesting because when we started back in the 70s, it was we opened a little store, as I said, Cobb Center Mall. We built all the fixtures. We started it with just a little money, but I always had a full-time job. So the money we brought in from our products, whether they're leather goods or jeans, we put back into the business and into inventory. But one thing, when we started, we would advertise on the radio and we would advertise in the newspaper. So we maybe had a 5-mile radius around our store. And what I tell students today is when they start a business, they have a URL. So they are going worldwide not just in their own little community. So they have to be a lot more careful about what they say, what they do, and to make it applicable if they want their business to grow to a much bigger audience. So it's a lot more difficult than it was when we started out. And another difference is that it was just my ex-husband and I to start out. Now, entrepreneurs have to be in teams. They have to have someone who's knowledgeable in social media, in computers, in marketing, in branding. So it's very rare that you'll see one entrepreneur in a team that grows a business. It takes so much more today to be successful because of the competition worldwide.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy because social media, you'll see people kind of glamorizing the whole experience, making it look and sound easy, but it really is not. Getting into that world. And you have big retail boxes like Amazon. They're competing with these big tech companies, and they have a great advantage. So, and speaking of students, recently I learned something new about you. I bumped into the business owner of Canopy Road Cafe Restaurants. Yeah, and he mentioned
Brad?
you, how you mentored him, Brad. Yeah, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's so awesome. That's you've mentored so many for over the years who also stayed in Tallahassee and grew their businesses. So he gave you a major kudos for everything that you've done.
Both he and his wife were in my class in merchandising.
Oh,
They got their degrees in merchandising degrees from us. He's fabulous. And Divvy Up Socks. The gentlemen that owned Divvy Up Socks were in our program in the College of Business.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too that was really neat. And speaking of being Domi board members, like Mitch and Jason met Spencer being in the space, being in that collaborative environment, and of course they probably didn't even plan originally to team up with others, but it just worked out that way. So, and I just wanted to give a shout out. Obviously, David Lawson was really good about mentioning this recently, that Domi would not exist without FSU and FAMU, the support of these great institutions and universities, and especially like you Miss Fiorito, Dr. Fiorito, for also being supportive in recent years. And why did you join the board, and why do you continue to support Domi?
Domi has always been a really important part of our community here. And as you mentioned, Florida State has been supporting it since its inception. And one of our previous vice presidents for research felt very strongly about the importance of having a community incubator. And our students, like Mitch and Jason, who were in our program in the College of Business, needed something else. They needed to work with the community. And they did that through Domi, who again nurtured them and helped them to succeed, connecting them with community entrepreneurs. So we love this connection, and FSU continues to support Domi because of the value that it gives to our students, the opportunity to meet community people that have the same, desire to meet needs of consumers.
And I'm glad you brought up community, because I would say there's a few colleges at FSU that really takes advantage of being a part of the community, and Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship and Jim Moran Institute. I'm sure there's that longer version of the name if I highlight it correctly. But you really take the opportunity to get with the community and make it easy for your students to network with the community. So I appreciate that so much. And also the College of Communication and Information, EAP. Yeah, so I feel like I don't know anyone else at FSU really, just your colleges, because of your colleges I do. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about, like, there's two distinctions, right? So there's Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship, and then there's Jim Moran Institute, and as part of Jim Moran College.
Right. And that is a difficult concept for a lot of people to understand the differentiation. So if you don't mind me talking about all of that. So the Jim Moran Institute for Global Entrepreneurship started in 1995. It started when Mel Stith was the dean of the College of Business at Florida State University. He was on Jim Moran's board. And he had worked with Jim Moran. And Jim Moran one night said, I'd like to give Florida State a gift of $1 million in 1995 to start the Jim Moran Institute of Entrepreneurship. And that would be outward facing. So that was with the community, mentoring businesses in the community. That particular institute, like a center, a lot of colleges have centers and institutes. This one had been in the College of Business. This April, it will be 30 years that the Jim Moran Institute is in existence. The Jim Moran College was brought into existence in 2015 when President Thrasher accepted a gift from Mrs. Moran for $100 million to start the first school of entrepreneurship. And she gave the $100 million to honor her husband, Jim Moran, if we could open the school by August of 2018, because that's when he would have been 100. $100 million to honor his 100th birthday. And so we started as a school outside the College of Business, accepting students in 2017. We did it a year earlier. She wanted us to start in 2018 because entrepreneurs make mistakes. So we wanted to try to fly under the radar before a grand opening. And so this was, this was very exciting. And we were a school, and I asked the provost, how can we become a college? And she said, have a graduate program. I said, okay. So in 2019, we had our first master's degree. And then in November of 2019, we became the first college of entrepreneurship in the country. I don't know if there's even one anyplace else in the world, in a public institution. So, we're just like the College of Business, only much smaller. And then after we were at college, Mrs. Moran wanted the Jim Moran Institute to come out of the College of Business into our college. So in October of 2023, we are now housing the Jim Moran Institute of Global Entrepreneurship in the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. So I know that's a lot of words, but so we are together now, and the Jim Moran College gives bachelor's and master's degrees, soon a PhD, and the Jim Moran Institute works with entrepreneurs all over the state.
Wow. Yes, I actually was a recent program participant of the executive program for JMI. Yes. So it's been an honor. It's been a great experience. And Marina, shout out to Marina Lixon. She's so engaged with the community. It's been great to see how involved you all are with as an entrepreneurial resource and community partner. And so you must, I don't know, you pretty much got this all done. It's amazing. And we did not mention this during the live. I know in our conversation earlier, you were the first, was it president, right? The first female president of the American Collegiate Retailing Association, and you were pregnant at the time.
Yes, it was quite a shock to the men in the organization. And this was just like any other professional organization, when I was teaching retailing, doing merchandising, I belonged to this organization. It had always been men. I had worked my way up, and this is all voluntary, from newspaper editor to secretary to treasurer. And then when I was the assistant VP, they said, you don't want to be president of this organization, do you? And I said, oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. And so I was voted in, and it was a shock to the men that used to, retailing used to be a man's world. And it's wonderful to see women CEOs now of retail organizations. And I think we have the merchandising program in our college now, and they're very, very successful. And women entrepreneurs like Sarah Blakely. And so I think there's a lot of role models for our female students. But I just want to add something when you said that I did this. It's a teamwork. And, I have great staff, great faculty. We have 4 regional offices for JMI. We have a great office in Jacksonville with Stephanie as the director, a great office in Tampa, Orlando with Shane, and a wonderful office in South Florida with Jennifer. So along with Marina, we have a tremendous staff throughout the state for JMI, and all of my staff in the college and faculty are the best in the world.
And it's really through visionary leadership that can get the team where they need to be. So I know you're being super humble about this, but I mean, it's not an easy feat to be the first of its kind as a college of entrepreneurship, and roll out the programs that you all have done so wonderfully well. And Kurt Bender another board member did shout out and just say the community is awesome. JMC has produced numerous Shark Tank winners that have mingled with Domi. That was the other exciting thing too, is seeing the headlines of, JMC alum featured on Shark Tank, or Florida or FSU alum too. Right. So, and you help tie those connections together. So what are you saying now? I mean, with everything that's happening, with the online business world, and I see business owners starting their own business easily now. It's easy to start a business. And what you, with all your experience, overcoming the obstacles that you have and growing this college too, like, what has your mindset been like? What types of mindset tips do you recommend applying?
First of all, I really have said yes to every opportunity. There were 2 men who were asked to be the director of the school, Jim Moran School, before me. And so I had went to the provost and said so, because both of them had turned the provost down. The provost asked these people who had been teaching entrepreneurship longer than I had in the College of Business, and I asked her, so who is she going to ask? And she said, well, you of course. And I said, well, I've never started a school. She goes, no, but I know you can do it. And so I had faith in myself. And I think that's what I try to instill in our students. Believe in yourself. Say yes to opportunities. Even if you don't know what's on the other side of that door, go through it with courage. And it's often that I'm one of only 2 women at a giant table with all men, either executives or deans or whatever. And yet I learned that my voice is just as important. My background, what I have to say, is going to be different than theirs. But you need to say it. You need to step up. Do I make mistakes? Constantly. But that's okay. I learn from my mistakes. I try not to make the same mistake again. And I think that's what we have to instill in our students. Take advantage of opportunities. Don't worry about making mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. Surround yourself with good people, because they will boost you up in difficult times. And it is difficult. And our students now, it's so easy to open a business, and yet it's so competitive. And I know venture capitalists won't invest in a business unless they've failed at least once, because the investors want to see that those businesses can pull themselves up by their bootstraps and start again. So it's a very rough, very difficult climate, but that's when there are opportunities.
That was awesome.
You're too kind.
No, that's so cool. No, and that's the other thing too, is that it doesn't seem like you have any fear. And I think that really sets successful entrepreneurs apart, is just not having the fear of mistakes, the unknowns, the challenges, those kinds of things. Like you mentioned a team earlier. Do you have certain, I guess, programs in place or ways that you help students partner with team members in identifying, are they going to be a great fit for you? I made a mistake with the wrong partnership not too long ago, and I realized, I wish I had a way to figure that out earlier on before I committed to something. But yeah.
We do encourage our students to reach out to students in other colleges. We'll be doing more, but our innovation competition that was just on Friday is open to all students at FSU. And so what we do for a whole year is to have workshops. Richard Benham from the law school, Rich Smith from the community talks to our students. We have different community people who talk to our students. And I hope in these workshops, students have an opportunity to meet each other. We also have ideathons in the Innovation Hub, where students just get up in front of a group and give their ideas. And someone in the audience may say, wow, I had something similar to that, an idea. And then they get together after that particular lunch competition. So we always try to connect students. And again, sometimes the relationship works and sometimes it doesn't. And it's all a learning experience that is valuable to the students.
Looks like Kurt is hanging on and listening, because he said, he never knew that. So it's good to know. It's good. Yeah, there's so many things. And before we wrap up, because I want to be respectful of your time, I know you're busy. You do have, JMI has a conference coming up.
Yes.
Right? So we could mention that briefly. It's in June.
Yes.
You can just share.
In St. Pete. And it's a national conference. We would love for anyone. Thank you so much. We've got some great keynote speakers, Jessica Harvey, Coach Charlie Ward, and then Ramon Ray, who has often been at our JMI conferences. We're very excited at the James Museum, which is a beautiful museum in St. Pete. So it's just a day and a half. And it will be well worth entrepreneurs' time to register for that conference. So thank you so much for mentioning it, because that's the first statewide, or really national, conference. We have one. We try to do one once a year, and so we're very excited about it.
It's really exciting. I mean, I can't wait to try to make it. I have to say, for the executive program, if you have not considered, they have, some criteria, but it's really not major qualifications. They make it super easy for businesses in the community. And it's a great opportunity to meet other business owners in town and network. And then when you get to go to the alumni networking happy hours that y'all host,
the peer-to-peer.
Exactly. The peer-to-peer. I love that one too. And the building is beautiful.
Yes, we do have a lovely building downtown. It really is gorgeous.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Susan. And if you have anything you'd like to conclude with, because we have a few minutes left, if you'd like to just say any last few words of advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I want to do another plug for Domi, because I really believe strongly in that community and that incubator. And people talk to me all the time about what can I do? How can I promote my business? And I'll say, particularly if they're not undergraduate students or graduate students, you need to go to Domi. They're welcoming. They have lots and lots of resources. As Julie mentioned, it's a great board that works closely with Kara and the rest of her team to support businesses. And we're very supportive of them. The Jim Moran College is also offering some workshops in the fall for underrepresented and underprivileged entrepreneurs. It's called LEAP. So we did one last year and had a successful group of 38 entrepreneurs in Tallahassee who joined us and who are continuing to grow their businesses. So we work together, the Domi and the Jim Moran College and the Jim Moran Institute. It's all working together to support entrepreneurship, which is critical to our country. Over 90% of all the businesses in the United States are entrepreneurial. And it builds a stronger economy. And we want to make sure that they're successful, because when they fail, it's not only their resources, but it's the employees that they own and their families. So please, if you're an entrepreneur, seek help, go to workshops, look at the opportunities that are in your community.
Thank you so much. And being a Domi community member and alumni myself, I'm actually mentoring one of the LEAP program participants.
Are you? Great.
Yeah, shout out to Jacob. And it's been a great experience. We really do benefit, mutually benefit and support one another as partners, ecosystem partners. With Domi, me as an entrepreneur, I benefited from both great programs, Jim Moran College. And so just a quick shout out for Domi Awards for those of you who haven't heard yet. If you didn't see it, it is coming up. It's around the corner, and they do have tickets. So try to grab a ticket. These are some of the nominees, but they've really done a great job just celebrating entrepreneurship. And thanks to Jim Moran College for always being a supporting member just every year. And we meet a lot of business owners that we didn't know existed, just, I know they don't put themselves out there. They're just like, they're just grinding, just working so hard, but they don't highlight themselves. So it's a great opportunity to meet other entrepreneurs. And it's a lonely journey. Like, you need to get together with other business owners.
Yeah. You need a village to support you. And we all want to support each other, and we're available, and it's critical to help each other in their journey. So thank you again very much for your time.
Thank you for your time. I feel like I need to have a mentorship appointment with you to have a follow-up call. I was like, I need to get together with Dr. Susan more often. But thanks again. This was great. And like I said, happy to see you again and feature whatever it is that you're doing with Jim Moran College. And then, that's a wrap, guys. So we will see you guys later.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.